Welcome to the iHistory channel, the place where we delve into the depths of historical events and phenomena. Today, we embark on a captivating journey to demystify myths and truths about a topic often shrouded in controversy: population reduction. In the intricate fabric of societal discourse, the idea of population reduction has been woven in, often with threads of fear and uncertainty. The concept suggests a world with fewer people would somehow be better. An idea, if one may say, is as fascinating as it is bewildering. But what are the true reasons behind this bizarre ideology? Why does it resonate with some and cause uproar in others? We live in a world where large clusters of people are crammed together in cities, creating a mirage of overpopulation. The constant hum of traffic, the never-ending queues, the mental exhaustion, the frustration, all these paint a picture of a world bursting at the seams with humanity. The absurd number of people per square meter might lead one to believe that we are running out of room on our planet. Yet, beyond the concrete jungles, vast stretches of our world lie deserted. The truth is, the world's population is not evenly distributed. A shocking 70% of the world's land is owned by a select few, leading to a disproportionate imbalance. This imbalance is what often leads to the misconception of overpopulation. The idea of overpopulation fuels the belief in the necessity of population reduction. But is this belief founded in truth, or is it a big lie, a misperception born out of a lack of information and understanding? Today, we are here to unravel the truth behind the controversial notion of population reduction. We will explore the myths, the realities, and the effects of population distribution. We will delve into the truths about population reduction and the real solutions that lie not in reducing the number of people, but in addressing the root cause of the issue, the imbalance in land distribution and population density. So buckle up as we embark on this enlightening journey, shedding light on the truths and dispelling the myths. Let's dive into the fascinating world of population dynamics and discover what really lies beneath the surface of the population reduction debate. To begin, we must first understand the myths surrounding overpopulation. It's a concept that's been ingrained in our collective consciousness, but is it grounded in reality or merely a product of fear and misunderstanding? One of the most common myths is the belief that our planet is bursting at the seams, unable to support more people. This idea is often accompanied by images of crowded cities, strained resources, and a planet on the brink of collapse. However, this narrative falls short under closer scrutiny. The fact is, the world's population isn't evenly distributed. Large swathes of our planet remain relatively uninhabited, while dense clusters of people are concentrated in urban areas. The image of an overcrowded planet is more a reflection of poor urban planning and ineffective resource management than an inherent population problem. Another myth that often circulates is the notion that the world's resources are being depleted at a rate that we cannot sustain. This is a misconception that stems from a lack of understanding about how resources are used and distributed. While it's true that certain resources are finite, it's also true that our use and management of these resources play a significant role in their availability. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the belief that a world with fewer people would inherently be better. This is a dangerous oversimplification that ignores the complexity of our global issues. Reducing the population won't automatically solve our problems. Instead, we need to focus on improving resource management, promoting sustainable practices, and addressing social inequities. Finally, there's the myth that we're on a one-way street to overpopulation with no way to slow down or reverse the trend. But the reality is, population growth rates have been declining worldwide for decades. Furthermore, studies suggest that our global population will likely stabilize by the end of the century. These myths, although widely believed, are not based on concrete evidence. They represent a misunderstanding of the complex issues at play and can lead to misguided policies and actions. It's time to debunk these myths and focus on the real challenges at hand. Now that we've debunked the myths, let's move on to the reality of population distribution. The world's population isn't evenly spread out like butter on toast. Rather, it's clumped together in large urban areas, creating the illusion of overpopulation. This uneven distribution is largely due to economic, social, and environmental factors. People flock to cities for job opportunities, better infrastructure, and social amenities. Now, let's talk about land ownership. It's a startling fact that a mere fraction of the world's population owns about 70% of the land. This concentration of ownership in the hands of a select few means that the majority of people are squeezed into the remaining 30%, and most of this remaining land is in urban areas, further fueling the urban population explosion. The owners of these vast swathes of land are often corporations, governments, or wealthy individuals. These entities have the resources to hold on to the land, sometimes leaving it unused, while the rest of the population scrambles for space. This imbalance in land ownership and population distribution contributes to social inequality. It also leads to the degradation of urban environments and stress on city infrastructure. People are crammed into small spaces, leading to overcrowding, traffic congestion, and high levels of pollution. This in turn can lead to mental exhaustion and frustration among city dwellers. Yet, it's important to note that the world is not running out of space. There are vast regions of the planet that are uninhabited or sparsely populated. But these areas often lack the infrastructure, resources, and opportunities found in cities, making them less attractive for settlement. So the perception of overpopulation is not a result of too many people, but rather a consequence of poor population and land distribution. The world has enough space and resources to support all of us. But the way these resources are managed and distributed is the crux of the issue. This disproportionate distribution of land and population is one of the main causes of the belief in overpopulation. The effects of poor population distribution are far-reaching and often misunderstood. We live in an age where cities are bursting at the seams, filled to capacity with people living on top of one another. This congestion, though, is not a sign of overpopulation, but rather a symptom of poor population distribution. Imagine living in a city where every square meter is occupied by a human being. The streets are choked with traffic, the air is filled with the clamor of voices, and the pressure to keep pace with the frenetic rhythm of city life is relentless. It's a life of perpetual hustle, where quiet moments are as rare as hen's teeth. This is the reality for many city dwellers. The result is a populace teetering on the brink of mental exhaustion. The constant need to navigate crowded spaces, to stand in never-ending queues, and to wrestle with the daily grind of city life can take a toll on one's mental health. The frustration of living in such close quarters with so many others can breed resentment and perpetuate a sense of isolation, despite being surrounded by scores of people. And yet, while cities are bursting at the seams, vast expanses of the world remain uninhabited. Desolate plains, untouched forests, and sprawling pastures lie empty, serving as a stark contrast to the overcrowded cities. This uneven distribution of population is the root of the problem. The perception of overpopulation is fueled by the daily experiences of those living in densely populated cities. This skewed perspective, though, fails to consider the vast areas of the world that are sparsely populated or completely uninhabited. It's akin to standing in a crowded room and assuming the entire house is just as packed, while in reality, many rooms are empty. The solution then is not to reduce the population, but to distribute it more evenly. By spreading people out, we can alleviate the pressure on cities, improve mental health, and dispel the myth of overpopulation. The effects of poor population distribution are often mistaken for signs of overpopulation. It's time we challenge this misconception and advocate for a more balanced distribution of population. Only then can we truly tackle the issues of congestion, mental exhaustion, and frustration that plague our cities. It's time to reveal the truth about population reduction. Population reduction, a concept intriguing for some, alarming for others, and misunderstood by many. The ideology behind population reduction often springs from concerns about overpopulation, resource scarcity, and environmental degradation. But are these concerns truly justified, or are they based on misconceptions and skewed perceptions? Let's break it down. The idea of overpopulation is rooted in the belief that the planet cannot sustain the current human population. This belief often stems from witnessing the crowded conditions in urban areas, leading to the mistaken assumption that the entire world is similarly populated. But the reality is vastly different. A significant portion of the world remains uninhabited and capable of supporting life. The issue, therefore, is not the number of people, but their distribution. Now let's talk about resource scarcity. It's true that resources are finite, but their scarcity is often a result of inefficient use and unequal distribution, not overpopulation. With better resource management and equitable distribution, we can ensure that everyone's needs are met. Regarding environmental degradation, blaming it solely on population size is an oversimplification. It's not just about how many of us there are, but how we live, consume, and dispose. In fact, a small population with a high carbon footprint can cause more environmental harm than a large population with a low carbon footprint. So, if overpopulation and resource scarcity are misconceptions, why does the idea of population reduction persist? It's often due to a lack of understanding about population dynamics and the complexities of the issues involved. It's easier to blame population size than to address the systemic issues of poor resource management, unequal distribution, and unsustainable lifestyles. The ideology of population reduction, although seemingly logical, is based on a flawed understanding of population dynamics. It's not about fewer people, but about better distribution, better resource management, and sustainable living. The real solution lies not in reducing the number of people, but in improving how we live together on this planet. The ideology of population reduction, although seemingly logical, is based on a flawed understanding of population dynamics. So, what is the real solution to the perceived problem of overpopulation? The answer quite simply lies not in reducing our numbers, but in rethinking how we distribute ourselves across this vast planet. It's a matter of spatial organization, not a question of quantity. For too long, we've been clustered in urban areas, living shoulder to shoulder, while vast stretches of the Earth remain uninhabited. Now, imagine a world where we consciously choose to spread out, to occupy the land more evenly, with better distribution. The issues associated with high-density living, such as traffic congestion, long queues, and mental exhaustion, could be significantly reduced. It's not about fewer people, it's about more space per person. But how do we achieve this? It begins with a re-evaluation of our land ownership policies. Currently, a shockingly small group of individuals own roughly 70% of the world's land. This imbalance in land ownership is a significant contributing factor to our poor population distribution. By implementing policies that promote a more equitable distribution of land, we can begin to address this issue. Such policies might include land reform, where land is redistributed from the wealthy few to the many, or urban zoning laws that encourage the development of smaller, more dispersed cities, rather than the growth of already overcrowded megacities. We could also promote the decentralization of industry and services, encouraging people to move to less populated areas. Of course, these changes won't happen overnight. It will require a concerted effort from governments, businesses, and individuals alike. But the alternative, the belief that we must reduce our numbers to solve the perceived problem of overpopulation, is not only misguided but potentially harmful. In essence, the answer to our population woes is not less, but more. More space, more equity, and more thoughtfully planned communities. It's about shifting our mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance, recognizing that our planet is more than capable of supporting us all, if only we distribute ourselves more wisely. The real solution to the perceived problem of overpopulation lies in better population and land distribution, not population reduction. We've come a long way in our journey to understand the myths and truths about population reduction. We've debunked the myth of overpopulation, shedding light on how it's not about too many people, but rather about poor distribution of the population. We've taken a closer look at the large clusters of individuals living in cramped cities, while vast expanses of the world remain uninhabited. We've exposed how the possession of 70% of the world's land by a handful of individuals has led to a disproportionate imbalance. We've delved into the harsh realities of city life, the wasted time in traffic, the long queues, the mental exhaustion, and the frustration. We've recognized the constant state of alert, the absurd number of people per square meter in cities while our planet is largely uninhabited territorially. We've also unveiled the truth behind the controversial ideology of population reduction, the misguided belief that fewer people would make the world better. We've seen how this belief is often fueled by misinformation and a lack of understanding about the real issues at play. Most importantly, we've emphasized that the notion of an overpopulated planet unable to support its people is a grand illusion, a lie that veils the real issue. the need for better policies that ensure fair distribution of land and resources. As we wrap up our journey, it's vital to remember that knowledge is power. Understanding the truth behind population reduction and the real challenges of poor population distribution empowers us all to advocate for better policies and solutions. It's not about reducing the number of people, but about creating a world where everyone has a fair opportunity to thrive, no matter where they live. So let's continue to question, to learn, and to share this knowledge. Let's strive for a world where understanding replaces misconception, where truth overcomes myth, and where fair distribution replaces disproportionate imbalance. Thank you for watching the video. Subscribe to the iHistory channel, like and share. Also, don't forget to activate the notification bell.